Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone's doing well and safe. First of all, I would like to wish all of you a very happy new year. Now this year we have a bigger plans to roll out number of different video series, number of articles on my LinkedIn profile, plus questionnaires basically related to the AWS certification or Azure certification on my Udemy platform. So please stay tuned to my channel because all relevant information will be going to roll out on my YouTube platform so that you guys can understand and get the information whatever you are looking for. This year we are starting with a new video which is Application Composer from AWS, still in the preview mode, not been rolled out to all the regions. It's specific regions we have this particular service. This service will help a non-developer plus a developer as well to visually design and architect the application with best practices model. So you don't have to exactly write up a code from scratch. This will help you to design everything with drag and drop option. Again, not all the services has been integrated with AWS Application Composer. It's more towards a focus list like Lambda function, DynamoDB table, then S3 bucket. EC2 instances are still not there. In the backend, it is working on top of CloudFormation. So it creates a template for you, which you can deploy, a ready to deploy template created by Application Composer in the front end. Now, if you see the tagline, it's basically visually design and build a serverless application quickly. Then you can rapidly generate a ready to deploy IAC, which is infrastructure as code that follows the best practices, and maintain a model of your architecture with simplified team sharing and building. One of the good part, again, just think of a scenario where I'm not a developer and I want to build up an application, a logic where let's say I have written a Lambda function and I want to do an NS lookup and send all the list of data of NS lookup to my DynamoDB table or to S3 bucket. So that's a simple logic, right? And I want to automate this entire process. Obviously, one way is to write up a CloudFormation script or a template, basically YAML or JSON, and deploy that template to CloudFormation console. That will help you to design the entire infrastructure for you. But you have to understand the logic, how you can write it, and you have to write everything from scratch. That's for a non-developer. Developer can easily understand and write it. But AWS Application Composer is helping everybody to just drag and drop with a proper logic, and in the backend is just creating a template for you which you can deploy right away. Okay, which follows also best practices. So this is one of a good service, I would say. I have used it and I liked it because I'm not from the developer background. I'm totally from systems, network and DevOps side. But again, even in the DevOps side, you have to write something. You have to write your scripts, you have to write CloudFormation, Terraform. But Application Composer making the developer's life, a non-developer's life very easy. Just drag and drop with a proper logic and code is ready to deploy. How it works is basically importing your infrastructure as code or start a new template. So if you have already have a IAC template, then you can import that. Or if you want to start from the scratch, you can do it. So we have that option too. Application Composer visually compose services into serverless application, drag and drop all the resources in the canvas, visual canvas, we call it as canvas, connect and configure the resources. So you can also connect your existing repo. If you want to do that, you will have that option. Then get an IAC definition backed by best practices, which is basically your CloudFormation, and visually architect application IAC automatically sync the changes. So this is totally making the life very easy for each of us, right? Now, in terms of the use cases, we already discussed this. Design and build a new serverless application. So basically streamlining your composition of different services. I mean, all the services which is supported by AWS App Composer. manage application through infrastructure as code tool, and visualize your application. So you will get a proper workflow. So if somebody is asking you, hey, how your application workflow is working, share me some kind of a flow chart or an architectural diagram. Application Composer is giving it that level of comfort to sharing that particular structure with the auditor team. So when you go with SOC compliance, SOC 2 type 2 as an example, then you have to show them the architectural part, architectural review of an application. Then you can take the snap of this particular architectural configuration from AWS App Composer if you are using it, and give it to them. So you don't have to really use draw.io or Visio to design your application flow. So I hope this clears a lot in terms of what exactly Application Composer is all about and why to use it. I'm not saying you have to use it. Just give exploration to this service. This is making your life easy. Now I'll share this documentation link from Amazon. You can go through the features, removing the guesswork, then streamlining the common task, rapidly synchronize your architectural diagram, powered by CloudFormation and AWS SAM. Then FAQs, you can go through the FAQs as well. One of the good part, there is no additional charges to it, but the charges are for the resources that you are creating with AWS Application Composer. As an example, DynamoDB table or S3 bucket or Lambda function, right? So if you're creating all these resources for a certain specific duration of time, you have to pay for it, right? So let's go to AWS Management Console real quick. And again, two ways to search any services within AWS. You can type the search bar or go to services. This is a developer tool. So you will find Application Composer in the developer tool. Click on Application Composer. This is a regional service. It's not available in all the regions. It's hardly there for what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 regions still, because it's still in the preview mode. Okay. Now, that's how the look and flow looks like for AWS Application Composer. You can go through all whatever we have discussed. It's written the same over here. If you want to read upon yourself, then you can do that too. Now here, as you can see, open up a demo project, then create a new or a blank project, and you can also load your CloudFormation template. So let's click now. If you want to, see what exactly Application Composer is all about, you can do a open demo. What it will do, it will open up a demo project what AWS has provided to it. But what we will be going to do, we will be going to create a project. That's something, a production based scenario. Now you can, as I said, you can sync your existing repo. So you can load the existing project or you can create a blank project. So we have two type of connection mode, connected and unconnected. So connected mode is basically activates your automatic sync of your project template and files between Composer and your local project directory. So for example, if your project directory is present on your local system, then you can use the connected mode and it will automatically keep syncing your project. The mode is supported only on Chrome and Edge browser. So I was using Safari on my Mac, and there the connected mode is not supported. You can grant the temporary local file access to your browser. Unconnected mode on the other side, which is supported by other browsers as well, where you have to manually save your template created by Application Composer. It will not do the automatic sync to your project. So what I'm going to do, so this is my VS Code, okay, and I have a folder created as App Composer. Let me show you here as well. Application App Composer. This is the folder that I'm going to sync. So let me go back over here, connected mode, select the folder, then application, cancel, sorry, App Composer. That's the file. We'll be able to view the files, yes, create, save changes. So this is a blank canvas. So as you can see, it's a canvas and this is a template where you will find all the code. whatever we are dragging, dropping, you can find all the code within the template. So the next part, how you can do that. As you can see, like not all the services are listed over here. It's just this focus set of services that AWS has provided: API Gateway, Cognito, then DynamoDB, Kinesis Stream, Lambda Function, Lambda Layer, S3 Bucket, SNS Topic. So a set of focus services I would say we have as of now. So let me drag and drop a Lambda function. Now, if you want to see the detail, you can click on detail or just double click on this particular box. On the right hand side, you will see logical ID, then the package type. You can change either to a Docker image or a zip file, then source path. Runtime, you have a lot of different options. Whatever supported by Lambda, you can go with Python or .NET or Java or Ruby. So let's go with Node.js by default. Let me double click this. Then architecture, ARM 64 or x86, depend. By default, we have a handler, index.handler, and you can, customize the make file as well. Timeouts and everything. So whatever you are configuring at the Lambda function, you can do all sorts of functionality over here as well. So that's one box or one service that we have dropped it over here. So let me go back to my VS Code. As you can see, click on the template file. It created a template file over here, which is basically showing you a Lambda function type, a serverless function, and you're getting everything. Whatever I showed you in the form, basically, it is just creating a function or a template, populating a template over here as in YAML format. Click on the source, you are seeing the index.js and then package.json file. Okay, so let me drag and drop another one. Let's say DynamoDB as an example. Again, double click. Here's the table logical ID. So let's go back to the template again. As you can see, we have a DynamoDB table coded over here as well. So I'm not doing anything. I'm not writing up a code. I'm just dragging and dropping in the canvas. It's creating code in the backend for me. Here, what we can do, let's give table logical ID as test table as a logical ID. You can name it as part of your, logic. Then partition key is ID, string, sort the key based upon the timestamp. So let's say based upon, instead of timestamp, I'll use time. Okay, and this is string, expiration key, again expiration test. Let's go back again over here because nothing has been saved, right? Because we haven't saved it over here, right? So once I click on save, as you can see, properties change, test table, and then everything is over here. Let me go back to the VS Code. Here you can see the attributes. I change it to the time instead of timestamp. Then expiration test. So all the values of that particular DynamoDB table has been listed over here after saving that property file. Now, another good part. So let me drag and drop few more Lambda function. Lambda function 1, 2, 3. And what it's doing in the backend, again, I'm showing you parallelly as well. So I got function 2, I got, function 3 and function 2. This is function. Okay, that's the logical resource type. We have one, right? Now, one of the good part, this blue line. So for example, if you want to connect Lambda function to DynamoDB table, it will do that. Again, you can connect multiple multiple functions to a table, which will make a flow like this. You can drag and drop, you can create a messy diagram, you can create a flawless diagram, a non-complex diagram, totally depend upon your requirement. You can run this Lambda function on, let's say, Java 8. You can run this Lambda function on Python, totally depend, right? Now, let me click over here. Let's go back. Since we have connected the functions to table, let's go back over here. it listed out all the functional grouping as well. So as you can see, function 3 and environment variable, it's creating the link as a environment variable. Table name is this, table ARN, then policy deployment. And the same has been done over here as well, and even for function 1. So just think of it, right? It is making my life easy. If I know the flow, how to do it, yes, I can have a template right away and I can deploy it. Totally making my life very easy. And you can see the template over here as well. I'm showing you on the VS Code parallelly because that particular app folder is associated with this AWS App Composer and VS Code 2. Perfect. As you can see, function 1, function 2, function 3, all functions are listed over here as well in the source file. So this is basically your package code. You can package it as well and share with your team members too. Okay, another good part of it, let's say if you have multiple functions, if you are using multiple like hundreds of Lambda function and you are using multiple DynamoDB table, you can group it as well because one of the function can have a different functionality. This Lambda function will work on a different layer. For example, this is my application layer. This is my, let's say, database logic. This is a gateway logic as an example. So you can group it as well. How you can group it? Click on group. And as you can see, this is group 1. So let's say this is my database or storage logic. I'm just giving you an example. So please uh, don't make it like, hey, why you have said a storage logic, right? I'm just giving as an example that you can do a multi-tier grouping as well over here. So storage logic, save it. Now, this storage logic is connected to the same DynamoDB table. Now, if you want this storage logic to have another function as well, you can just drag and drop over here. As you can see now, the two Lambda function is performing a storage logic. If you want all the Lambda function to perform a storage logic, just drag and drop within that particular storage container. I would say it's a container. Now in the backend, again, you will see a lot of different groupings of functions are over here, like groups, function 1, 2, and 3, the storage logic. That's a container. Now, if you want, let's say this function don't want to perform a storage logic, right? So what you can do, you can create another group which will help you to understand this is my app logic as an example. Save it. So now we have two set of logic, app logic and storage logic. Two of the function is performing the storage logic. One of the function is performing an app logic. Again, going back to my VS Code, the grouping has been done over here for function 1. That's how Application Composer work. That's how it creates your architectural flow for your application. Again, flow differ from app to app. In one of the app, I might want to use DynamoDB table. In another app, I'm using only S3 bucket and S3 notification as an example. So yes, the flow differ from app to app, but one of the best thing, I'm getting an architectural diagram, so I don't have to use a third party tool like Visio or Draw.io as an example to indulge myself into those particular tools and think how my application is flowing from one end to another end. Life is getting easier with App Composer. I'm getting all the codes in my bucket which I can deploy right away. Plus, I'm not writing it from scratch, so I don't have to deal a lot in thinking up of writing up a logic within a CloudFormation template. So I'm getting everything with a drag and drop flow. Again, initially I mentioned these are few set of focus services, I would say, what we have from AWS. In future, we may want to see more services like AppSync or any other services so that we can use it more fluently if we are AWS centric. One of the requests from my end, don't use it for the production based workload. Just give it a try for your dev and staging environment. Integrate your template with your CI/CD pipeline. So whenever you do some of the edit, like double click, edit the form, it will trigger a pipeline for you. So don't do it for the production environment for now, and just try to become more familiar with this service, which will help you to understand the logic and everything in the backend. Try to use the unconnected version as well, which will basically you have to save it manually on your server. As of now, I'm not doing anything. It's all done automatically, dragging, dropping, and it's getting saved in my app composer folder, the location that I have mapped. So I hope this clears a lot in terms of logic, concept, and the workflow mechanism. How you are getting the code template, how you are dragging and dropping all the services in the canvas, and helping you out with the architectural flow. Give it a try. If you're facing any issue, place out a comment in comment section. I'll be there to help you. Have a nice day. Bye bye.